good to see
Cuz,
you,
how
Joe.
are you?
Man, I'm
Well,
out there and loving it. How about you, baby?
I gotta say, it is a crazy. Oh, I hope to live in interesting times, my friend. I did. This is not what the fuck I had in mind.
Who had this in mind? Even if you took the wrong acid at Woodstock, you didn't have this in mind. I don't think there's any LSD nightmare trip I've ever taken that would prepare me for this. But
Well,
hey, here we are.
hey, at least Oprah's having interviews with Harvard professors talking about how hallucinogenics can, like, I don't know, cure depression or something like that. So this is, at least there's that.
In my day, it caused it, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah, this really smart, like, erudite professor was like, I didn't know that I was sturdy enough to trip. And I'm like, I am not sturdy enough to trip. I know that I am not sturdy enough to
Are
trip.
you alive today? You're tripping.
Ser- Seriously. All right, let's jump into the fucking trip that this is. And let's start with, you tweeted last Friday that you had seen, like, enemies of the United States, adversaries of the United States, treated better in the Oval Office than Zelensky was treated by that fucking melted circus peanut.
the, the guy who's involved with Putin, that guy? Yeah, yeah.
What do you mean,
Um,
Russia, Russia, Russia is a
Russia,
whole?
Russia, Russia. It's like you're gonna ruin my childhood experience of the Brady Bunch by continuing that crap. Uh,
Seriously.
yeah, I have 41 years of covering. Look, there's a certain decorum that goes on in the White House, and you can say whatever you want about Zelensky not being deferential to the president. I would find it hard to be deferential if my country was invaded. I'm fighting for my life, and I've got a moron who's supposed to be helping me, blaming me for the problem that I'm trying to solve. So I could understand his consternation. What is absolutely despicable is a president of the United States treating a guest in his own home that poorly. That
Mm.
denotes a lack of class, a lack of style, a lack of political sense. And pray maybe full onset dementia, but we'll wait and see about that later. But the thing, the tipping point for that whole event was when he said one last question. The president said one last question, and then that idiot JD permanent eyeliner Vance had to come in and say, and everybody knows if this president had been in charge when this invasion happened, it never would have happened. The war never would have started. And both of these idiots forgot. And Zelensky pointed it out to him. And mind you, not one reporter has ever done this. Well, since me and Jim Acosta and April Ryan and a few others who pushed back have been pushed out, no one has said to him, hey, idiot, the invasion began in Crimea February 20th, 2014, 11 years ago. In fact, the reason why you don't want to mention that is because the first time Donald Trump was in office, he did nada, nothing about it. So
Yeah.
he would rather have you believe that the invasion that occurred, the renewed invasion that occurred, is the point where the war began, but that's not it. They've been fighting this war for 11 years.
Hmm.
And that's why it all fell apart from there. I mean, it's hard when you're literally fighting for your life. I mean, I remind everybody, when the second invasion occurred, we offered him an off ramp. We said, hey, get on a plane. Well, you can rule in absentia. And he said, screw that. Send me, money. He said, the shit has hit the fan. Send me lawyers, guns, and money. So,
Right.
and if you don't know that song, look it up. So,
And the reason he dresses the way he dresses, and I forget what, I never remember what the fucking pig nose that voluntarily sleeps with Marjorie Taylor Greene's name is. I can't remember.
unfortunately, his first name is Brian, so that's how
Yeah,
I remember him.
Brian douchebag. But that
Yes,
stupid question. But the reason Zelensky dresses the way he does is to show solidarity with the soldiers that he wouldn't abandon, that he did not get on that off ramp. To your point,
there's look on so many levels. That's a stupid freaking question.
ugh,
Nobody ever asked that of Yasser Arafat. Nobody
right?
ever asked that
Good point.
of anybody from Saudi Arabia when they showed up. Nobody's ever asked that Winston Churchill showed up in
Hmm.
fatigues. That's a stupid question. It's like, why didn't you wear socks? What the hell's that? Are you wearing underwear? What's next? How stupid do you have to be in the Oval Office as a reporter? What level do you have
Oh,
to sink to in order to ask the president a question? I swear to God, sometimes, Joe, the questions in there, they start out fawningly. with Trump and giving him all kinds of accolades. I'm half expecting someone to walk in there and compliment him and go, "Gee, Mr. President, isn't it great how you make lightning bolts come out of your butt? What
Before they
can you
filleted
make
him right there on
rainbows?"
camera.
Yeah, I'd ask that on camera just to mess with him. I want the real question I want answered that he hasn't answered. He keeps saying that Russia wants peace more than Ukraine.
Yeah.
Could you explain, Mr. President, to the average voter, the ones who voted for you
Mm.
in the election, how it is
Hmm.
that a country being invaded wants peace less than the country that invaded them? Make that make sense for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That of course they want peace. They didn't want the war in the first place. Do they want to surrender? No. And what
No.
Donald Trump is offering is he's put Ukraine between a rock and a hard place. Surrender to Russia, or give us, or in effect, surrender to us. Give us your rare
Yeah.
earths, and we'll
Yeah.
take care of you. It's
Right.
a
They're
it's
not
like being
guaranteeing
jacked
shit.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think about this in terms of like that they're justifying Putin's invasion by saying, well, they were out there, toying with the idea of joining NATO, and I kind of relate it to like a woman wearing a short skirt and being like, well, she deserved it because she was wearing that short skirt, and then you blame her for wearing the short skirt, and then you're like, oh, excusing the rapist. I mean, this is basically where we're at here, and it's
I want to
how
thank
a
you for
fucking
making that analogy, because I said it's like you're blaming the victim for being raped.
yeah,
And I was told that that kind of woke shit won't get it anymore. And I'm going, what are you talking about? It's a direct analogy. They
exactly.
got invaded. They
Yep.
didn't ask for it. They
Nope.
don't want it. And
Nope.
they are politically and warlike being raped.
Yeah.
There's no other way to. And so I appreciate you making that. You're absolutely right. And
And
everybody
what
who think that's too woke for you, go screw yourself.
the blaming the victim, and then worse than that, by blaming the victim and then saying that the victim is the one who doesn't want to stop being raped. Are you
Yeah.
serious right now? Like, I mean, that, and these are Putin's talking points. But then today there was another motherfucking Oval Office shit show that I haven't even seen fully. But he says he can only work with Russia. He can only work. He's working well while making the argument that Russia is bombing the shit out of them right now. I don't understand even. First of all, clearly he's contradicting himself all the time because he's a fucking moron. But he's like trying to justify only working with Russia while Russia is bombing the shit out of them and saying Ukraine's the one who doesn't want peace. Make that
Oh,
fucking make sense, please.
it's worse than that. He came out and said, when someone asked him a question, he goes, that's a good question. Sometimes questions don't have answers. Sometimes they're good ones. Sometimes they're bad ones. And I'm going, what? That was a stream of conscious effort that rivaled something that you would see out of a kindergartner who got caught pooping their pants. There's just no other way to. There's really no other way to look at that. That was an existential crisis of biblical proportions, and that idiot is running the White House, and us idiots in the press are not holding him accountable. The what he's done to the press, instead of banning us, right, like he did with me and Jim Acosta last time, trying to
Yeah.
ban us.
Yep.
He's invited them in, but only in that small pool. And so, familiarity breeds contempt, but it also breeds friend. You want to be in the in club, baby. So they're not
Hmm.
pushing too hard. Even those who have a reputation for pushing hard are not pushing hard because they won't be invited into that exclusive arena, like going backstage with P. Diddy and being shown all the baby oil. Here it is. And so that's
You know, you get the other. I'm sure you saw it because I'm waiting for the Resolute Death to get a QR code. But when he was throwing the hats to the pool, and he's like, "I know that guy. That guy doesn't want a hat because he's a straight guy. That guy's a straight guy. But I know you want a hat." And I'm thinking, who the fuck is he pointing to? That he just said, "I know you'll take a hat." And I'm
that
thinking, to
guy
your
that's
point.
dating Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, gross. But then he's in the fucking pool now. My God. I
Well,
mean,
and that's Joe. Here's the thing. Here's the dishonest part about all of that. He's going. He wants to expand the pool to include, the new media because they don't get a chance to see him. Horseshit.
yeah.
If you really want to see the new media that doesn't get a chance to see you in the pool, I have a suggestion. march your fat ass 75 feet down the hall into the Brady briefing room where there will be about 150 reporters, and only those first two rows will be the pool, and you can call on anybody else in there, and every one of them would cheer you for doing it. No, it's
Mm,
not about transparency. It's about
right.
control. He wants
Yeah.
to tell you he's transparent, but he's controlling the number of reporters that will see him and that he will take questions from. He's a liar.
And then what everybody does is they say, "Oh, well, Biden didn't talk to the press," and we can talk about that. I know he didn't talk to the press as much as
No,
he
he
should
didn't.
have. I know that, but they'll say Biden didn't talk to the press at all. And look how much Trump makes himself available. But that's gaslighting because he's only making himself available to the people who are friendly to him.
Well, and all right, so how do you want to tell the press to kiss your ass? Honestly, and not show up?
Right.
Like, I'll give Biden that. He just didn't show up. Screw you guys. I'm not showing up. Donald Trump will tell you to kiss his ass while shitting all over you. So
Yeah.
I mean that he shows up and he lies about everything. I don't favor
Mhm.
either approach. I have said that I had huge problems with the Biden communication staff, and they made possible what Donald Trump is doing today, without any doubt. But that's neither here nor there at this point. Biden isn't our president, Trump is, and
Right.
that SOB is the absolute worst who has
Mm.
ever inhabited the Oval Office. His I don't call that person a press secretary. That's a pep secretary. They're there for a pep rally. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for pom poms and the cheerleaders, outfit, and jumping out and down and go Victory. That's the Trump battle cry. I mean, that's where I think that's headed. So there's no way in hell that communication staff, at least with Biden, those people were professional and they
Yeah.
were communicators, and you could occasionally get answers. All we get here
Occasionally.
is just I mean, it's a shit show from the moment you walk in to the moment you walk out, and I mean literally sometimes it stinks.
Yeah.
So I
Well, look, the Carolyn Levitt, I don't know how you fucking it's Levitt, whatever. She brags about not bringing a binder, and it's like, why do you need a binder to remind you how to fucking lie? You're not telling the truth about anything. If I was just going to go up there and lie the entire time, I wouldn't need a binder either. Give me a piece of paper that says 10 lies on it because she's just going to go out there condescending to mean, by the way. I think she's the meanest propaganda Barbie they've ever had. And I mean, Sarah Sanders exists. I don't know. Is she like a kind of a bitch? She seems like a cold bitch.
Kaylee McEnany was, I mean, she sent her husband in one day to pick a fight with me. So I still
Holy
say she's,
shit.
and I liked him. We ended up getting along.
Huh.
So that's,
Well, that doesn't surprise me because it's you. Yeah.
yes, we bonded over baseball. But, but this one is without a doubt the youngest, least experienced. Mean doesn't mean shit to me. After 41 years of covering presidential press secretaries, take your mean and shove it up your ass. I was here before you. I'll be here after you. You want a cop attitude? I've got kids that got better attitude than you, pal. So that means nothing to me. But what is more important is the fact what you said about not bringing a binder. Actually, that's a compliment to someone because they care enough about the facts to come and
Yeah.
say, all right, here's what we've said in the past, here's where we went wrong. I mean, if anybody's ever seen one of those binders, it's all about stuff that's been said before, the actual policy that they're defending, and where they've gotten it wrong or we've gotten it wrong. So it's an aid to communication. Not having a binder is merely an aid to listening to the pep rally, and
Yeah.
I don't like cheerleaders. So I
Right.
don't need, and I'm not going to engage in that. I'm not going to walk into that room and go, gee, you're the best president. You all are the best people that have ever been here. We love you. Can I stick my tongue any further up your ass? Before I ask you a question that really has no answer and nobody cares about. For example, here's one that's not been asked. I want this one answered. Every day, I get emails from this president still trying to raise money, selling me hats, t-shirts, baubles, goggles, you name it. He's trying to
Singlets
sell
and
it.
shruggies or whatever. Yeah.
What's he
Snuggies.
raising funds for? Is he going to
Mm.
try and run for a third term?
Yeah, I mean, if he survives, right? Okay, you
Well,
said earlier. I mean, I think he looks like fucking shit. Like, I mean, he has never
well,
looked
the
good.
Ozempic is making him look thinner, but he's still as nutty as he's ever. And you don't have to spend any time at all around the man. And unfortunately, I have. But that's you don't have to spend much time around him at all till you realize that he is literally being steered up in place. It's like starting a leaf blower, and then you turn it on, and off he goes for until he runs out of steam. What was his State of the Union address? That
Oh,
was a pep rally.
yeah.
That was divisive. It was aimed at MAGA.
So
It
many
didn't.
lies.
Yeah, and it was. I'm tired of hearing the lie about transgender mice and how USAID was a problem, and of
Hmm.
course that people are getting Social Security checks that are 300 years old. All of those
Yeah.
are lies, folks. First of
Yeah.
all, USAIDs. If we're not there in the third world spreading democracy and hope and help, then
And
it's going to
hmm
be China, and we're going to lose our footing and we've lost
yeah.
our footing in the third world. Those were transgenic mice. Those were adaptation of of your DNA to test for medicines on people. So
Yep.
that was science,
Cancer
not his.
medicines. Yep.
Yes. And for
Alzheimer's.
the love of God, there's no one. Social Security, if I may remind people, only started in 1935. So even if you were 100 years old, and that would be the outside back then, there couldn't be anybody over 190. But that aside, this is not about people getting checks that aren't supposed to. This is
No.
a computer code problem, and they know it. When people died, they don't get their check. They just didn't get taken out of the database of people who
Exactly.
got it. So
Right.
that's crap. All of it's bullshit.
I
And
mean, a
he
Lebanese
repeats.
person could live that long because,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Lebanese people are the ones that are going to stick around and make sure the world's okay. But
Yeah.
that's we have a tough job. Wherever there's what's the old saying? The Lebanese saying: if you don't have a Lebanese friend, get one.
That's right. I mean, but seriously, the lies, but also the gaslighting, the propaganda, and that I could not myself get past the just the visual of him being in that chamber, the same chamber that he incited an attack against, were the same lawmakers who were hiding and cowering and afraid for their lives a few short years ago. We're now standing and applauding this fucking fascist crazy person who would have had any one of them hung a few short years ago. Like, I couldn't get past that.
Well, yes, there were plenty of things I couldn't get past, and that was him appearing on stage at all. Once he
Yeah.
walked up there, I was like, "Well, it's over." I'm going to
Yeah.
listen to another pep rally, and I was right.
Mhm.
He could
Yeah.
have that entire speech. He could have made in 4 postings on social media and saved us all a great deal of time. It
90
was
minutes.
all froth and foam and bullshit and ranting and raving. Nothing real substance.
No.
The Democrats, the signs were kind of cute, but I don't get the point. Al Green with his cane, I love his music better than his protests. But here to that, no, different Al Green. But to
And now
that
he's
point,
censured, right? Because
yeah,
and
for
10 of our guys voted for that. 10 of my guys voted for that
yeah.
shit.
Well, here's the thing about that. Maybe he did, maybe he did not deserve censure. But what the Republicans fail to recognize time and again is that the pendulum will swing in the other direction. And
Hmm.
at some point in time, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the moron of biblical proportion, and I'm telling you, folks, buy a new dictionary, look up moron, and see whose picture is there. It's going to say, see Marjorie Taylor Greene.
At least we know MAGA won't do that. They don't have dictionaries, but
Well,
that's
they
okay.
can't spell dictionary, much less buy one. So that it will.
Tick.
Yeah, I had well, she is a canary. What a dick canary. Anyway, she's gonna at some point in time, it's gonna flip, and they're gonna be censured as she should have been, and
She
as
should have
Matt
been.
Gaetz should have been when they went after Biden. But decorum
Mhm.
in that house is the people's house. They are the government. They have a right to protest. Free speech, First Amendment. So
Yes.
they, in the past, have withheld censures of those heckling the president by presidential mandate. So don't tell, the president will go to the speaker house, go, let him rant, get it out of their system. Don't make them a hero. Don't make them
Hmm.
a hero. So what did they do? They decided, fuck it, we're going to go out and make him a hero, and we're going to go after him and prove that we're the bullies. That
Yeah.
only it plays out negatively, and they don't. The thing about the Republicans is they're not very forward thinkers. They
Right.
have no heart, and they have limited head. And then what can I tell you about the Democrats? They have a lot of heart and no
Yeah.
head.
Oh God, it's so frustrating because I don't know if you're hearing this, but I consistently hear from my Democratic friends like, where are the Democrats? And the signs for a lot of people talking to me are like they were like, oh, it's that's not enough, like that's ridiculous, that looks weak. We look like they were going to bingo or whatever, they're going to play ping
Oh yeah,
pong.
the signs, bingo.
Yeah.
My favorite was the dry erase board. I'll give her credit for that. So anything that came up was like, wait, white knight, no, wait a minute, this sucks.
I
I
would have
dug
just written
that.
fuck you over and over again. Like fuck you,
I
fuck
dug
you,
the
fuck
dry
you.
erase board. The bingo cards were not my favorite, but I did dig the dry erase board. I'll admit to that.
So how do you think the Democrats are handling all this madness? Like from
I
where
think
you're
they're trying to
sitting?
figure it out like everybody else. Look, on Monday, it will be the 50th day of the new Donald Trump regime. My
Jesus
birthday.
Christ.
Yay!
Oh, happy
So,
birthday.
thank you. What a way to celebrate. And if
Yeah.
you could have anticipated, now we had an idea where it was going to go when he came back, but if you had told me that he would be defending Russia against Ukraine, I would have said, well, maybe he'll hint that way, but he's not going to drop that. But no, and he has, or he
Mhm,
wouldn't get rid of the Department of Education, and he said he will. There
mhm,
are numerous things that he's just taken way over the cliff. And so you can anticipate as a Democrat, they are pressing him in court. Okay, that's really what they do have available to them right now. But here's what I tell Democrats, and if you want to bitch about the MAGA people, all right, but here's what they did: they voted. Here's what the
mhm,
Democrats didn't do: vote. In fact, there
mhm.
were Democrats who didn't vote for Kamala Harris specifically, and I interviewed them. I'm a Democrat. I didn't vote for her because she's a black woman. Well, you're as racist as the Republicans. So, you better pull up your big boy pants and find people that can run. And here's the biggest thing you got to do: vote.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing about people complaining about the system who simply don't vote.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has stolen that term from Richard Nixon, the silent majority. Finally, the
Mhm.
silent majority is being heard. No, no, the super minority is being heard. When you
Exactly.
have 60 to 65% of the people come turn out to vote, that means 30 to 32% plus one wins the election. That's a super minority. 70% of the people disagree with you, but they haven't
Mhm.
voted. So, my advice to everyone is quit your bitching, register to vote, be involved at a local level. I mean, I'm talking about school board elections and city council. Hell, even, go to the PTA for the love
Yep.
of God, but
Yep.
be involved.
Yep.
And it takes more than just voting. It's driving old people to the polls. It's volunteering
Mhm.
to be a poll watcher. It's
Making
volunteering to
phone
be a
calls.
captain. It's
Yep.
volunteering to make phone calls. It's all of that.
Mhm.
If you want to make a change, I hate to sound cliched, but you got to be the change. You got
Yeah.
to you got to get up off your fat ass and get involved. And so many people don't.
No, and I'm also I'm tired of the other side still to this day monopolizing the social media machine that they have occupied that space to such a degree where it even still it feels like from my perspective I'm still having to drag so many of these elected officials to the trough to get them to drink to understand no you have to talk to us, you have to, like, your hits on ABC and MSNBC and NBC are one thing, they're only going to a specific circle and that circle is shrinking. They need to broaden their reach by talking to the creators more and more and more. I mean, honestly, not, and I think the journalists are doing the better job of communicating with independent creators now than the electeds are.
Yeah, well, that's our job. God bless, we might actually do it. That's- Here's the thing. I I don't know why, and I've had this conversation with reporters, politicians, elected officials. I straddle a line between legacy media or corporate media and new media. I'm on
Yeah.
Substack. I'm independent. I have been independent for years. And of course, anybody who knows me knows, if you're the White House correspondent from Playboy, you're not exactly invited to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, but which is good. But
Right.
here's the thing: that I think all voices matter, even those who I disagree with. I will disagree with what you say, but defend to death your right to say it.
Yeah.
Politicians have lost that ability to understand that, looking for the immediacy of votes and the immediacy of ratings and hitting the most
Mhm.
people. Well, they need to broaden their perspective a little bit. And for independent, label yourself as you are. If you're a blogger, you're more power to you. God bless you. You're independent, but independent journalism is different. Independent reporting is different. If you're going to call yourself a journalist, you have to at least have a copy editor, someone who has looked over your shoulder and said, "Hey, Brian, what the fuck are you talking about here? Where did you come up with this? This is." And by the way, you spent, and no one has credibility in my book if you can't spell the name right. You know, I've been called Kareem since I was a kid, and I would always go, "Tall guy plays basketball. We get mistaken for each other all the time, but it's Karem." But you know that there is a difference, and I don't mind. You know, independent. And I think independent. I listen to a lot of different independent opinions, including those I disagree with, because I want to try and follow their logic. I want to know
Yeah.
what the hell are they basing their argument on. Now, a lot of
Yeah.
times there is no logic, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we have a huge problem among politicians because at the onset of it, they're just looking for the immediacy, and they have lost sight of their long range goals. And so that's like the same thing with, you know, Republicans going, "Hey, we're going to censure Al Green," not realizing the next time there's a Democrat in office, Marjorie Taylor Greene will be spending her ass and, you know, on a bench outside of the, you know, the hall, thankfully, with it, if there's any luck.
Yeah. About that poor bench. Let me ask you one last question before you go. I think she calls that bench
Habibi.
Brian. That bench's name is Brian, not you, Brian. Brian, the
Yeah,
other
I
poor
know.
bench. Take note. Let me ask you this last question before we go, and then to tell people, where they can find you and all the good
Ah,
stuff and what you're working on Substack. But what would Helen Thomas make of this moment in time?
God bless you for asking that question. Uh, Helen and Sam Donaldson were two of my closest mentors, the ones I love the most. And Helen was the first person I met walking. I've told you this. Was the first person I met in that White House press corps. I have a podcast called "Just Ask the Question," which is based on something that she told me. She said, "Brian, it doesn't matter what the question is. It doesn't matter if there's an answer. It only matters that you ask it, because that way you've put it on the record and they can't deny that the issue has been brought before them." She goes, "I don't care about rudeness. I don't care if you disagree or agree with the president. If you want a friend in Washington, D.C., get a dog." She, which I think she either stole from Harry Truman or Harry Truman stole from her. That's how far back she went. But the point being is, she's absolutely right. You have a job to do. And I think she would be appalled by what we see today out of the press, as I am. Ben Bagdikian, who is the editor of the Washington Post and also a friend and fan of Helen's, said, "Look, ultimately, Brian, your responsibility, right, isn't to it isn't to the people that hire you. It's not at heart to those who pay you, your editor, your sources, your friends, or the advancement of your career. It's to the public. At the end of the day, your responsibility is to the public." So, to use John Lewis's words, get into good trouble. I simply refuse to be the guy that's going to compliment any president. I will stand there. I will be the immovable object, the irresistible force, whatever the hell you want to say. I'm not walking out and boycotting him. I'm not going to complain about him. I'm not going to say, "Why didn't you call on me?" I'm going to sit there and shout that fucking question at him until they fucking answer it, because that's my fucking job. And if you can't do that, don't fucking go there. Send people that know how to do their fucking job. And like Helen did, Helen didn't give a rat's ass. And I loved her every day for it, because she just would, it didn't matter which president, Democrat or Republican, she'd gig them all. And you know, as sharing Lebanese genes as we do, you know that
Mhm.
we love giving people shit. And so I don't, I'm there
Who,
for
me?
that all day long.
Never.
Yeah, I'm
Never.
for that all day long.
Yeah. Oh my God. And thank God for you. And thank God for like your voice and for you standing up and being, channeling that exact energy and remembering why you're there and what the American people actually need you to do. Because man, it's looking bleak, and thank fucking Christ for you.
Well, thank God for you, cuz I mean, having the, the having the balls to stand up and be counted, because there are too many people that are simply not. They are
Yeah.
simply bowing to I refuse to bow to that. My dad taught me the only way to deal with a bully was to punch him in the nose, and I fully, or make him your friend, and I doubt I'm going to make Donnie my friend. So,
No.
A, I don't have enough money for him, and B, he won't like me anyway, because I keep telling him he's full of shit.
They'd
I
probably
told
think
him,
his hummus is too spicy.
yeah, too spicy. I don't like him. I don't want him in there. I told him if they let this guy in here, nothing but trouble. Yeah,
And but speaking of just ask the question, you did ask the question about if he lost the election, if he would accept the results of the election he lost, and that motherfucker basically gave up the whole game. And guess what? He
yeah.
did not accept the results of the
He
election he
did. He
lost.
still doesn't.
He still
Today,
doesn't.
he's in the Oval Office talking about how the 2020 election was stolen again. And I'm going, you're so full of shit. Your eyes on your hair ought to be brown. Your skin, you ought to be standing in a brown shit sack because that's all you are. You
Isn't
are
he
a
though?
shit sack.
Kind of looks like he is standing in a giant, just seeping through his skin via like it's turning orange through the skin. All right. Well, I had Lebanese food last time I was in DC. I had Lebanese food, George Conway,
Oh,
someplace I don't
I'll
even.
make you some
All
Lebanese
right, let's
food.
go. Let's fucking go. We
I'm
need a
in for.
podcast of us eating your Lebanese food. That's what we
Oh,
need to
that's
do.
and we'll even have some Iraq, the Lebanese licorice.
Which,
Yes,
as a
the
kid, I remember
liquor.
it was magical because it turned white when you would add a little water, of course they'd let us all have a little sip of that because that's what we did. And I tried the Turkish coffee and all the shit, but like, yeah, that shit. Oh
Magically,
god,
it'll
that'll put
turn you
hair
into
on your
something else
chest.
if you drink a lot of it. That's
But we got to do that. I'll bring some pita from up here because we have the best
oh,
fucking Middle Eastern
some
markets up here.
the Syrian bread that my grandmother made is the best.
She made
Absolute
her
best.
own. My
Oh
grandma
yes.
didn't even make her own, and God
Oh
bless your
yeah.
grandma. She didn't make her own. Wow.
Oh
She made her
yeah. And
own yebra, but not wow.
I've got that recipe too, so I'll be happy to make you some
Yes,
sometime.
please. Yes, please. I've
Yeah.
never actually, other than the bakeries up here, I have been in Patterson and Clifton. I've never had it homemade. So
Have
yes,
you ever been to Lebanon?
no, we talked about this. My
Oh,
dad
that's right,
was
we did.
was from
Yeah.
Roshaya originally, and that they still have family there. But and it's not really a good time to go now. Although maybe safer for me there than it is here. But I've never been.
It'll
I've
be
never been.
plenty safe for you there,
Yeah.
but because you're Lebanese,
Right. Right.
so
Yeah.
so that you'll be all right. But
Yeah. We got yeah.
so I'll tell you where to. You can see me on Substack. It's
Yeah.
Brian Karem at Substack. The name of the podcast is called Just Ask a Question, and I also do one called Reverse Shot, where we turn the camera around and poke fun at the media and show how stupid we are. And and then twice a week a column in Salon, and you can also
You have a
we have
documentary.
the big thing is the first 100 days of chaos. The
Yeah.
100 days of chaos of the new Donald Trump regime. The first it's going to be a 10-part series. First two parts will be dropping in on July 4th. And the big surprise there, and I'll be the first to announce it. It's going to be exclusive to Midas Touch, folks. So we're going to drop it there, and then well, we'll see where it goes. Internationally, there's plenty of people who want to poke fun at Donnie internationally. So
There are. There really
we'll
are.
find a place for that.
Yeah, and I saw you getting some content for that down in DC the right before
Yep,
the inauguration with your incredibly handsome son. Was it one son or two sons that were there? I forget.
all
Three
three of
sons.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Folks, your genes, the Lebanese genes, of course, but he's some good-looking kids. I'm just gonna put that out there. I mean, I don't need to tell you that, but damn.
Well, the apple of the tree, baby.
All right. Well, so everybody's gonna look for that. Look for that on the Midas Touch Network. Also look for the Substack and the two podcasts because Brian is certainly not busy enough. And thank you for giving me this time today. Yeah. Oh, look,
Joe,
Jay says you're attractive. Jay's loving what she's seeing right now.
well, I will tell you, Joe, as a cousin, you got me anytime you want me. I love you
Okay.
to death.
Love you to
You do
death.
great work.
I love you to death. We've got to break bread together as soon as humanly possible. Thank you, my cousin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Substack Live, and I'll see you next time. Bye, Brian.
Bye.
Bye.